Welcome to Pax Europiana, this time in front of the Central Bank of Ukraine. And here again I call for the euro for Ukraine. This is very important, and I'm sure many of the gentlemen and ladies who have deleted my tweets in the last 5 years when I was calling for back to the euro, for the euroization of Ukraine, will now regret it. Now Putin is attacking again, and the Ukrainian currency will be the first one under attack. Yeah? It is very logical that in a case of war, in a case of military escalation, obviously the fiscal situation of this country will be under threat again, because wars are hugely expensive, you need to print money, you need also then to spend a lot of money on defense, on procurement, on industrial equipment, on international weapons purchases, and that will another big shock after Corona and the 2014 shock, the 2015 shock, the 2008 shock, and so on and so on. And obviously I understand of course the background, because there was a currency back to the dollar in the past, and this was of course very dubious, and it led to a big manipulation. And I've never ever argued for a dollar back for Ukraine. I always argued for a euro back, and as I've been in Kosovo, Montenegro, and in the countries Bosnia and Macedonia which have a back, and Bulgaria, I have always argued for a euro back and the euroization. And the argument which Professor Aslund, who I really admire and respect, my deepest appreciation, he says that it's an export commodity driven economy with a lot of fluctuation of the prices on the wheat and the metal sector and the steel market. I understand that. I also study economy. All the basic theory is aware to me, but I'm not the greatest of all economists. I never said that, but I'm just repeating what worked in other countries of the European periphery, and it makes a lot of sense. And when you have a full trade integration with the European Union, as Ukraine has now, with the DCFTA and the 5 years of success, then it makes a lot of sense to adopt the currency of your main trade partners. If you're small and a periphery country, which Ukraine is, it's not a big economy. It has $150 million, no 100, it was now a bit bigger because the 2020 figures are about 180, and then you are exactly at 1% of the EU GDP, because also the EU GDP is growing. So it's a 1% of the EU internal market, and so it doesn't really, it's not a big economy in that sense. It's 1% of us, and so it's also not a big risk for Europe. It is better to have stability here in the currency system than investments, taxpayer support, future loans, and the expectation of the investors, domestic and international, are secure. There is no currency risk, no matter what is the war, what is the situation. There will be no currency risk. There will be also the symbolic clarity of the future of Ukraine as a country with the euro. I can just repeat myself, it's the best policy. And it worked in Montenegro and Kosovo exactly for the reason because it reduced the future risk. There is no risk of devaluation anymore. There is trust in the euro. Okay, you can debate about the euro and about all these things, but that's not the case for the periphery economies like Ukraine, Kosovo, Macedonia, and all the southeastern European periphery, which ultimately I use the term periphery of Europe on purpose, because that's what Ukraine is now after 2014. It's not an independent economy somewhere between Russia and Europe. It's the European periphery, the same like the Balkans, and that is why the currency policy of the Balkans is the best. Yeah? Even Serbia has a crawling peg at 117. Albania has more or less the same stability. So it is the best policy. And imagine the visual kind of effect of here having the euro. It is very good also to pressure the Polish. Very good, the Hungarians will be behind. That's also serving the European interest to basically put Ukraine as a little bit as a back in the motor of the European integration. So good, I'm very happy for that. Yeah. And the euro is simply the best policy. And as I say always, most countries have done it very successfully, like the Baltic countries, your best friends and your supporters, yeah? Like Lithuania, like the Baltic countries, they all did it. Hello, central banker. I have made so many tweets and videos about it, from Bosnia to Macedonia to Albania. Now I'm honored to be here in front of the Nationalna banka. And the future is the euro. Not the dollar, not the yen, not the yuan, not the ruble, the euro. And if that's anyhow the future according to the Ukraine constitution, why not pack? Why not do it immediately? Take out the risk, have less inflation, have less interest rates, and have more stability and more investment, more confidence of the European investors in their investments in the future. And this is also the best economics, and it's the best political clarity. And yes, you have to buy the euros then if you unilateral do it. You have to have some attacks from Brussels. Mrs. Lagarde will get a heart attack if she sees that video, and if you really do it. But it's the politics that matter, because then everybody has euros in their apartments, in the value of for the calculation for everything. It's then the euro in the business plans. It is so simple, so clear, and so good economics and politics. And the symbolism now in the confrontation with Russia couldn't be clearer, that the future of this country is the euro and the EU potential candidate, which hopefully now we will give you as part of this compromise in exchange for somehow a moratorium on NATO membership, that is then sealed by the euro. So no war, stability, currency stability, and EU integration sealed by the euro. That's my peace plan for Ukraine. And I hope nobody felt harassed by me saying this statement in front of the Central Bank of Ukraine. And I wish all the central bankers a happy afternoon, peace for Ukraine, and please adopt the euro. Thanks a lot. Bye.